Right, hi everyone, good day and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be doing something different. So we all know that big changes are coming to the Microsoft 365 certifications, right? Some of the certifications are about to get retired, and we're coming up with a new AI certificate. So with older courses gradually retiring, many professionals now are shifting focus, right, to AI. So in this video, I'll be showing us a list of courses that will be retired soon, and for some of us who will be taking on examinations on the new courses, the curriculum is definitely going to change. The skills that you're supposed to have, all the information you're supposed to use, it's going to change compared to what you used to know. So in this video, I'll be doing a breakdown into those new skills that you need to have to be able to ace your exam. So for today's session, I'll be working with the AB-210. All right, so just as I said, it's no more news that exam MB280 is going to be retired. So by July 31st, 2026, these course will be retired, and the new credentials will be the Microsoft Certifies Dynamics 365 Sales AI Consultant Associate, which is the AB-210. Right, so this is one of the others that Microsoft are going to replace and bring in new AI courses. Right, so having to work with this one, which is on this video. Subsequent video, I'll talk about other courses like PL200, MB700 and others. So for today, we'll be focused on AB210, and we'll be going to see what are the new skills to measure. Yes, it's good to always go through the Microsoft Learn, but you agree that yes, the Microsoft Learn is to give you this depth understanding, but once you're preparing for the examination, it's kind of a bit different because you need to study some specific things to be able to ace your examination, that is certification. And here in this video, I'll be breaking down on the new course AB210, right? So what you need to learn, or what are the key things you need to look out for while preparing for the examination. All right, so going to the study guide, all right, and I'll just go at the skills at a glance. So skills at a glance is expected that you're able to understand these things before you go in for your examination. All right, so you should know how to configure Dynamics 365 Sales Core Features for AI. Previously it wasn't for AI, but now it's for AI. So this takes about 15 to 20% of your examination, right? Then also optimize AI-driven sales. This takes 20 to 25%. We also have qualify and prioritize leads by using AI. This takes another 15 to 20%. Then we have develop deals by using intelligent opportunity research. This takes 25 to 30%. And lastly, the skill you need to know is how to extend and enhance sales, which takes about 10 to 15%. So you can see how all of these are being broken down, which if all summed up, you could get your 100%. And this shows you what to focus more on, and should I say what to focus less, but then what carries more weight in the preparation for your exam. So breaking down each of these skills, okay, if I come down to the one that has to do with configuring sales core features for AI, there are topics, or should I say modules, that are on each of them. So we have the evaluate prerequisites for deploying sales. So what are those prerequisites? What are the things you need to know before deploying the Dynamics 365 CE sales? How to configure mailboxes for the users, how you use Outlook, going to Power Platform, how to configure the mailboxes. You set up and configure business process flow. So the regular business process flow that we have in the system, you need to know how to do that. So you go into Power Apps, right? So you know how to set up the data steps, the flow, if you have a condition. So you need to have an understanding of this. Also how to configure timelines. So on the form, there's a separate table. You need to understand how to configure timelines in the system. Evaluate options for import and export. So we have different import and export options. If you are working with big data, the options to use in Power Apps. If you're working with just moderate data, you can import right from the C application, and same goes with export as well. So it's expected that in this topic or in this section you should have this understanding. Also the sales security model, the security roles, salesperson, sales manager, how to create them, what does the privileges means, how do they affect the users of the system. So all of this you should have an idea of. Also configure Microsoft 365 functionality, so how to integrate with Teams, integrate to SharePoint, Outlook, and also OneDrive. So integrating here mostly just talks about turning on and off the button, then your integration is done. But then you should have good knowledge of what is happening here. So next is still on the configure sales core functionality. So we just finished configure sales. Then next is to create and manage the product catalog. So we also have a part of sales, which is a product. You need to sell something, right? So here you configure product and product families. You manage price lists, including currency. So you have an understanding of how to manage price lists, currencies, discounts. So that all will help you in achieving your 15 to 20%. Next is to optimize the AI sales, which takes about 20 to 25%. First is design an AI first sales strategy. So here you augment sellers workflow by using Copilot and agent. You know how to create Copilot, in Copilot Studio, assign agents maybe to automate some tasks for you. Then you design the sales data model in Dataverse. You evaluate the options for reporting and visualization. You could make use of Power BI. You could enhance your dashboard. All right, so you can also differentiate features in the sales plan. Then next, you prepare to deploy agents. You configure prerequisites for deploying, configure the capacity, billing, and credit. Still on this, we have the AI-powered intelligence and insight feature, where you work with the sales accelerator, which just helps you to organize your tasks. So for the salespeople, it's organize their tasks for them if you create the sales accelerator. So all of this is expected that you have, an idea of, to be able to meet up with the 20 to 25%. So once you're studying on the Microsoft Learn, you now know what to focus on. So if our advice, just pick each of these, because each of these are like topics in the Microsoft Learn on on AB-210, right? So you just go straight into them, have a good understanding of them, and prepare for the organization. So next year, which takes about 15 to 20%, is qualify and prioritize leads by using AI. All right, so here you talk about how to generate and nurture your leads. So you configure the lead and opportunity experience, how you want your flow to be. You fine-tune the scoring model, how do you want your lead to be in warm, cold, and hot stages. So you configure that yourself. Also, you automate the lead qualification by using the sales qualification agent. So that's, with all of this understanding and following all the prerequisites here, you'll be able to match up to your 15 to 20%. Next, you have the option to develop deals by using the intelligent opportunity research. So this takes about 25 to 30%. Under this, you can optimize opportunity management, which has to do with coordinating opportunity management with the sales close agents, adding opportunity product, and configuring pricing. Then you can automate deal by closing using the sales close agent as well. So that's all these match up to the 20 to 25%. The next is the extend and enhance sales. So with this now, it's more of you going a bit into configuring the sales application. So you can see you can deploy and configure the sales mobile application. The sales also has its own mobile application. So here you deploy and configure the sales mobile app. You set up the Teams calling. You configure an SMS channel. And then another thing here, to extend sales footprint by using the Microsoft Power Platform. You'll be able to create the Power Automate flows, to send email notifications. A lot of, depending on what your use case is, embed Power Apps component, and also embed Power BI resources. So if you notice, these are like the options we have. In MB280, I can just tell you something that used to be there, but it's not here, is the customer insight journey, right? There used to be some questions that, are supposed to come from the customer insight journey, but now you can see this is solely focused on sales. That's the AB-210. So with this, you now have a breakdown into what to expect, what to read, how to get yourself equipped for the new certification, which is the AB-210. All right, so For subsequent videos, I'll be talking about other certification that will be retired and giving us a breakdown on the skills that we need to have or what we need to focus on how to achieve, make the certification A. So if you haven't subscribed, do well to subscribe, like, share, and comment on the video. If you have any questions, you can send in a comment and definitely we will get a response. Thank you, and I wish you all the best in your AB-210 examination. Cheers and bye.